Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with my March Mystery Madness TBR. Say it with me everybody, it's TBR time. Yay! I could not do it, right? It would be sacrilege. So yes, March Mystery Madness TBR. As you guys are aware, I'm sure if you've been watching my channel, I don't generally do monthly TBRs anymore. I do weekly. So I did my first one back in that format, like in the weekly TBR format last Friday. And, you know, going forward, I'll be doing one every Friday. So with these 9 books that I'm going to share with you, they are essentially going to be just kind of amalgamated into my weekly TBRs, essentially. So that's my game plan. So yeah, March Mystery Madness is coming in March. It runs for the entire month. It is an event that was created by Elizabeth and Troy Towell. We have a whole bunch of great co-hosts this year. Everybody will be linked in the description box below. So please do go and give them all a view or subscribe if you haven't, because they're all fantastic. I watched everybody's announcement videos and they are all fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So anyway, it's super fun. This is the 9th year of March Mystery Madness, which is why the theme is to the 9s. So there are 9 prompts. There is a bingo board. I will put a picture of it up here. So if you want to use the bingo board, you can. If you don't have to. But I am somebody who enjoys reading to prompts. So I did pick a book for every prompt. Now, these are subject to change. There is a chance that I might not read the books that I'm going to show you guys, but these are a high probability of the ones that I am going to pick. So I'm going to go through each prompt, talk about them, and maybe talk about even some other books that might fit the prompt as well. So kind of this is a TBR recommendations video, sort of kind of. I do have some March Mystery Madness videos planned. One is going to go up next Wednesday, I think, where I am going to do a sit-down talk about the real differences, the similarities and the differences between the intrigue line, the romantic suspense line, and the love-inspired suspense line from Harley Quinn. I have a plan to do a video because a lot of you have been asking me to do a video on the Colton books, which are like a long-running romantic suspense series with multiple branch-off series from there. And I'm also going to do an author spotlight on a very well-known romantic suspense author who writes for Harley Quinn. So this is the year of the category romance for me. So this is the year that I am trying to read majority category romance. Now, it's not everything that I am reading. I am going to be reading a few other things here and there. Generally, most of the other things that I read will be on audio, but I would say 85% of what I read this year is probably going to be category romance. So I'm super excited about that. So out of these 9 prompts, 7 of them are category romance picks, aka Harlequin / Mills and Boon books. I was going to try for all 9, but it wouldn't have worked for one of them for sure, for reasons that I will get into. And the other one I thought was going to be a walk in the park, but no such luck. So I'll talk about that one when I get to it as well. So the first prompt we have is, of course, to the 9s. And this is to read a book with a person or people on the cover who are dressed to the 9s. And back in the what year did this book come out? 2014? Back in like the 2010 to 2014, 2016 time period for the Harley Quinn romantic suspense line, a lot of the books had people who were very dressed up. Now they mostly deal a lot more with cowboy type stories, but back then they were a lot more espionage, kind of James Bond-esque type books. So the book that I'm going to be reading is one of the first ones I came across, and I have it on my shelf digitally, and that is The Manhattan Encounter by Addison Fox. This is the 4th book from the House of Steel series. Yes, I know I'm reading it out of order. Let's just stop that conversation right now. But as you can see, he is dressed up in his super fancy bow tie, and she's in that pretty green dress. So I think that this one definitely fits the prompt. Again, if you look at the romantic suspense novels from Harley Quinn, this line that came out somewhere between like 2010 to 2016, 2018, there were a lot of these books that had these very well-dressed characters on the cover, again, because they dealt a lot more with kind of espionage type stories. And again, that whole James Bond-esque feel to them. The next prompt is 999, which is, speaking of James Bond, British, which is to read a book that I believe the prompt is actually to be set in the UK. I may be fudging the line quite a bit here, because I looked, guys, and I could not find any Harley Quinn category romance suspense book that was set in the UK. They are predominantly, obviously, set in North America. In the US, I'd say 98% US and maybe 2% Canada. Or, 95% US, 3% Canada, and 2% elsewhere, something like that. They're very, very difficult to come by. So again, I'm fudging the line a little bit with this one, and I am going with a book that was probably on my March Mystery Madness list a few years ago. I think I read it. I know I've read it once before. This might be my third read through it, but it's a book that I think is really fun. It's not a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. It's not any, but it's just fun, and I really enjoyed it. So I will be reading The American Temp and the British Inspector by Pat White. This is the first book in the Blackwell Group series. You cannot get this one on ebook. This is the only book I'm going to talk about that you would need to hunt out a physical copy of if you wanted to read it. So basically, it's about a British inspector who comes to the US, I believe it's Chicago, and he gets set up with this American temp who is like trying to help him, and she's like his girl Friday kind of an idea. And, there's stuff happening and whatever. But so again, fudging the line with this one a little bit by having a British, male lead. I'm going to go with it, people. I'm going with it. This book came out in 2007, in case anyone is curious. The next one, 9 Lives. This one should have been a walk in the park. And it can be a walk in the park for my cozy mystery fans, like for cozy mystery fans out there. If you're not a cozy mystery reader, or you're not a cat person, what is it that you would pick? So just as a quick recommendation before I get into my book, if you don't read cozies, but you want to read a mystery with a cat on the cover, may I suggest The Cat Who series by Lillian Jackson Braun. We got into a huge discussion about this last night with the in the reading sprints that I was in, and it is a well-loved, beloved series. I said in those sprints, if the Babysitter's Club are the books that got me reading as a kid, the Cat Who books are the books that got me reading as an adult. The thing is, though, with the Cat Who, if you go back to the original 5 or 6 that were published, I think the first one is called The Cat Who Could Read Backwards. If I'm wrong, I'll have the correct picture up here, but I'm almost certain it's The Cat Who Could Read Backwards. And if you go back to those ones, they were published originally in the 1960s. And Lillian Jackson Braun wrote them back then for that specific time period. So they tend to be a lot grittier. I know a lot of people, they shy away from cozies because they prefer more gritty type, mystery stories or murder mysteries, if you will. But those original Cat Who books are like that. Later on in the series, when our main character, Quill, moves from, they never name the city to my understanding, but again, I think it's Chicago. When he moves from there to 400 miles north of everywhere, as it's referred to in the books, just outside the Canadian border, it becomes much more the cozy mystery that we are used to. And Lillian Jackson Braun herself actually took a break writing the books. So she wrote like the first 5 or 6 in the 60s, and then took a huge break, I think, until the 80s, and then came back and continued writing the series. So just for those of you, again, if you are new to cozies, I still would classify them as a cozy because Quill is an amateur sleuth. He is a reporter for a newspaper, but he's not a cop. He's an amateur sleuth. And 2 cats, or 1 cat in particular, Coco, helps him solve mysteries, and it's a Siamese cat. So anyway, those are delightful. Again, if you like cozy mysteries, there are 1,001 of them that have cats on the cover. Go to town with those. But what I actually picked is a category romance, and this is the most ridiculous series, to be completely honest. Ridiculous and amazing series. So it's amazing because it's so ridiculous. So this is the Fear Familiar series by Carolyn Burns, and it is a series of books that all feature a black cat who helps solve the crime. And to what I remember, because I've read a handful of these, the cat, he doesn't necessarily talk, but I think you get the cat's point of view. And I picked this one book in particular just because the cover is just so ludicrous. And that is Familiar Vows by Carolyn Burns. This is book number 18. I think 18? Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. 18. And this came out in 2008. Okay, the cat's wearing a tuxedo. As you do. I just can't. Yeah. Mystery, cat on the cover. I'm set. The next prompt is 911, which is the, of course, American emergency response. And so that is to read a book featuring a first responder. So a police officer, a firefighter, maybe a paramedic. In my case, I'm actually reading a book about a first responder. So if you want these, I think there's a whole series. I can't remember the author. I'll pop one of the covers up here of a Hot Shots something, and they are all firefighter books, but they are for the romantic suspense line. So you might want to check those out. But the one I'm going to be reading is also for the romantic suspense line, and it's actually called First Responder on Call by Melinda De Lorenzo. This one came out in 2019. This one I think is also a reread for me, or I only read half of it. I can't remember. But it was the first book that popped in my head when I saw this prompt, and I'm like, that's the book I'm going to read. The next prompt is our center square on the board, which is one that I knew for sure I could not do as a category because this was a Janelle book. So Janelle over at Too Fond of Books sadly passed away last year. We were all very devastated, those of us in the community who were friends with Janelle. She was a huge, huge supporter of March Mystery Madness, and it really does feel like we're missing a piece this year without having her here. So in her honor, in her memory, the middle prompt is to read a book that Janelle would have recommended or has recommended. So go back and watch her old videos. Her videos are all still up. And find a book that she read, a book that she enjoyed, and read that one for the center square. She loved Agatha Christie, so I will be reading Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie, which is the second Miss Marple book. I'm reading the first one right now, the complete short story collection, which I am enjoying. I did read Murder at the Vicarage last year, but I kind of flew through it, and I really didn't grasp it as much as I wanted to, so I'm going to give it a good reread. So I'm very much looking forward to that. The next one I thought should be a walk in the park, and that was 9 Patch, which is to basically read a book with a quilt on the cover. I read the love-inspired romantic suspense books. They are fantastic, and they also feature a lot of Amish people. What do Amish people do? They make quilts. I thought this will be dead easy. Pun intended. I thought that I would so easily find one of those books with a quilt on the cover. No problem at all. I literally, my friends, went through every single ebook on the Harley Quinn website for the Love Inspired Suspense line. Did not find one quilt. No one. Lazy Amish people. Lazy. Not one of them, during their time that they're being chased by a killer, could make a quilt and put it on the cover of a book. So I decided to go with Cozy Mystery. Like I said, I'm trying to do mostly category, but sometimes things just don't work out that way, and that's okay. So I did a search on quilt cozy mysteries, and this one came up because it is an Amish one, and I do really like the Amish cozy mysteries. I think that there's a certain charm to them. And this is written by Isabel Allen, which I didn't know is actually a pen name for Amanda Flower. And Amanda Flower writes one of my favorite cozy series, which is The Amish Candy Shop. So I will be reading Murder, Plain and Simple by Isabel Allen, the first book in the Amish Quilt Shop mystery series. So clearly quilts on the cover of that. See, these are non-lazy Amish. They have the time to solve a mystery and make a quilt. So, sorry. Don't tell me you don't have time to make a quilt. Anyway. I do not have time to make a quilt, nor am I any good at it. I could knit you a pair of socks, though, if you give me enough time. The next prompt is 9 on the cover. So this is a book that has to have the number 9, either on the cover or in the title or in the series title or something like that. And I went with the series title. So I'll be reading Tracking Stolen Treasures by Lisa Phillips, which is a love-inspired suspense novel. They are famous for these canine series books. There are a gazillion of them. If you are not into the faith-based romances, try the Intrigue line. They also have a set of canine romances as well, but they are prevalent prevalent within the Love Inspired Suspense line. So this is the 10th book in the Canine Search and Rescue series. There is a reason I picked this one in particular, and as you guys might know, it's because every week I'm challenging myself to read a full box set that Harley Quinn is publishing every month. That's the simplest way I can describe it. So in March, there's 4 of them that I'll be working my way through. The 2 intrigue and the love-inspired romantic suspense. So I'll be switching back and forth. So I'll be doing like an intrigue, a romantic suspense, and such and such. So the Canine book is one that fits into one of those box sets, and that's why I picked that one. Clear as mud, right, guys? This will all become clearer later when I'm doing my weekly TBRs. The next one we have is the 9th book in a series. So as you guys know, I just jump around series anyway, so this was, again, dead easy for me. Pun always fully intended. So I'll be reading Deadly Amish Reunion. The Amish are making an appearance again, by Dana R. Lynn. This is book number 9 in the Amish Country Justice series. This came out in 2020, excuse me. So yeah, looking forward to this one. I do believe it's a Christmas book based on that tree looks like it's on fire. I had to look closely at the cover. It's actually lit up with lights, but then it's covered in snow, so you're not, anyway, it's a thing. And the last prompt is any 9. So anything with a 9, it can be 9 chapters, 19 chapters. It can be published in 2009. It could have 999 pages. Get creative with this one, guys. Get creative with this one. But I went boring, and I just picked a book that was published in 2019. And I am going with Storm Warning by Michelle Hoff. This is a Harley Quinn intrigue novel, and again, published in 2019. I love the cover of this one. It's a standalone novel. Michelle Hoff typically only wrote, I think she only wrote 2 books for intrigue. She mostly wrote for the Nocturne line, so she is like a paranormal author. So I am very much looking forward to this book to see what her contemporary suspense books are like. So anyway, guys, that is my list for March Mystery Madness. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I am really looking forward to it this year. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And yeah. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for today's video. Let me know what you guys might be reading. Have you made your picks yet? I am going to start a thread on my Discord where if you want to talk March Mystery Madness, you can, and we can all share what we're reading. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.